Welcome to the Downtown Studio Midland's In Focus series. This is meant to be a podcast where we get to showcase some of the talented creators that are in West Texas. I'm Mike. This is my wife, Steph.
Hi, guys.
So we've been running the Downtown Studio Midland for about 2 to 3 years now, and we're really excited to be bringing you this. We really want to showcase a lot of the talent out here in West Texas that we've been able to get to know, and we're really excited for all of this. So a little bit about us. Like I said, this is my wife, Steph. We're both photographers. We actually run Wilson Photography. We've been doing it for a while, since about 2021?
Yeah.
So we've been...
Legitimately.
We've been officially since about 2021. But Steph, you did some college stuff, right?
Yeah. So I actually started around junior high school with my dad's Olympus film camera, and then was part of the yearbook crew, taking pictures for the yearbook, and then took some more courses in college, but decided to change degrees and not finish that degree. So
we got married in 2019, and that's kind of when I guess caught that photography bug, because I kind of dabbled here and there, messed with film cameras and disposables, and had those like point and shoot cameras forever. But it wasn't until, so we were on honeymoon, went to Belize, and we were one of those little like puddle jumpers. And I remember seeing there was a guy there, and he was a photographer, and he had one of them white lenses. So, if you know, you know. But I remember seeing that, and I thought that was like the coolest thing ever was, to go travel and just take pictures, I thought that was awesome. And that was kind of when I was like, man, I want to kind of dive off into that. And, little did I know what we were getting into. But that was when, so I bought my first kind of like camera, and that was that little Canon T6 Rebel, a little starter pack with all the kit lenses. And then we went to Big Bend that summer. So honeymoon was early summer, and then wasn't later in the summer we went to Big Bend with the family?
yes. Yes.
So family trip to Big Bend, that's when I first kind of got to mess around with that lens, had some fun with it. We took that hike and made it to whatever point or peak we were at. It wasn't that high. Taylor was with us, and he was 7 or 8. Wasn't it like
it was Mine Trail or something like that?
I thought it was like a 3 or 4 mile trail.
It was.
But it was pretty. It was very pretty.
Very pretty. You could see all the mountains in New Mexico.
Yeah, it was very fun. And then we went to New York that later on that Christmas.
Our baby moon,
because we had Abigail that following spring. But yeah, that was when I really learned, that's when I really learned how bad I was at photography.
You haven't learned the triangle yet.
I hadn't learned anything. So, yeah, that was like out of the several thousand pictures I took, I think I only have like 3 that are actually worth anything. Like that you can actually like say, hey, look what I took. But that was fun. That was interesting. And then it was, then COVID hit. And so everybody kind of was locked down on COVID. And then it was 2021 when, like every photographer seems to do, they get started by taking pictures of their family.
Yeah.
So we did pictures of the kids and my mom, your nieces, I guess my nieces too. So
yeah. Your dad with the kids, yeah.
Dad with the kids, and then we had some friends reach out, and that was like our first paid gig.
Yeah.
And so then we slowly started to make that transition from hobbyist to professional business.
We our formal dining room in our house got made into a makeshift studio,
which seems to be like everybody's first studio is in the house.
Yeah.
So that was our first studio. Was that dining room, and it just was like a sheet of, it looked like a blanket. I mean, it was a backdrop, but it was one of those Amazon kits where it comes with these lights and the backdrop, and that was the first one.
Everything you need in one kit is awful. Yeah,
those lights didn't do anything. Still had a bunch of bulbs when we gave them away. I think I had like 6 or 7 bulbs.
Oh my gosh, those bulbs were huge.
But yeah, we did Reagan and Salem, some newborn pictures. We did some headshots.
Yes. Yep.
And then we kind of got to the point where I didn't want random people in my house.
Yeah.
So I remember we were down here. I was having coffee with Alex, and I was just like looking, and I found this thing called LoopNet. And I was just like, hey, there's a place here, and it's relatively inexpensive, and it's right downtown. And I like downtown. I like kind of the urban kind of scenery. So we ended up getting that, and it was Midland Charms building down the street from where we are now. But
I remember you had to talk me into it because I was so scared of jumping off into that.
Well, I've had to talk you into like everything we do. Basically.
I know. But that's marriage.
Yeah, there's always one that's like jumping head first, and the other one's like, I don't know about that. So anyways, we got that first studio officially, and it was about, 430 square feet?
Yeah, something like that. It was pretty small.
It was basically one room.
Yeah.
It was enough to put the backdrop, 10-foot backdrop in there, barely.
Barely.
We actually kind of squeezed it in a bit.
Yeah.
We had, like a little shelf, like a 2x4 shelf that we put some props on there. And
maybe 15 feet of shooting space?
Yeah, there was not much shooting space. But it was fun. I had a lot of fun there. Learned a lot. Kind of slowly started to upgrade these lights. We actually remember running off of like flashes for the longest time.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And they were like, they're so unreliable because they're, flashes you got off Amazon for, $50.
Yeah. But we went to the PPA conference.
Was that after because when did we first go to those? Oh, we went 2023. So we got the studio in 2022.
Yes.
And we kind of ran it like that for a while, which going back, there's nothing wrong with using flashes from Amazon. You just got to know your limitations. Just going to throw it out there.
But we felt like we needed to, learn more and legitimize ourselves a little bit more. And so we became members of PPA, and then we went to that conference. And that conference, I feel like that first conference was a huge eye opener for us.
Mostly because of the expo.
They have great classes too, but
yeah.
it was kind of an eye opener for us, and I think that that's where we started. Like, okay,
Getting serious.
We need to get serious, but also I think that's when we're like, we've got to be able to pay for good equipment. This is one of those things you're going to pay for what you get.
Just throwing this out there, but remember who had to convince you to go to that conference in the first place?
I know, but I do love to travel.
Yes. So yeah, I do remember that. Like it was an eye opener because you get to network with a bunch of photographers from around this, the country, kind of around the world, because it's a big enough conference that you attract people, attract international people. So,
yeah.
But I do remember the expo because that was like you see the latest gear, latest software, latest programs. I mean, that's how we got on 17 Hats. That's how we got onto Avoto. That's how we got onto Aftershoot. I mean, all the things we use now, like most of it we've learned.
Spider gear.
Mm-hmm. I mean, everything. They have everything there. That's how I got onto that Real Tour Vision.
That's where I found all my pretty baby backdrops.
Mm-hmm. If you didn't know what PPA is, or what PPA is, PPA stands for the Professional Photographers of America. It's a association in the U.S. that is specifically for photographers and videographers. It's a great association to be a part of. You pay for your membership, and in that you have access to training, education. You have access to documents like contracts and model releases. I think we used to use a model release that we found from there. Through there, you can get gear insurance, in case somebody breaks a lens.
In half, snaps it clean. Oh, honey, you're not going to believe what I did today.
Yeah. I didn't want to be next to you when I sent that message and you opened it. But you can get gear insurance. You can get liability insurance. I mean, it's a great resource for photographers. There's a local chapter for the PPA, the Midland Odessa PPA, or MOPPA, which Kimberly Cohen actually kind of runs. And I encourage everybody here that's a photographer to be a part of that. It's great community building, and it's just a great resource. And of course, you can go to the conference. I think we get free if it's your first year as a PPA member. You actually get to go for free.
Yeah, you get to go for free. That includes the classes and the expo.
It's like a $250 value.
Yes. Yeah. And the classes are not like super in depth unless you go before the conference.
which those cost money.
Those cost money,
The
but
actual conferences, the classes are free.
and they're like an hour long, so it's not like you're taking up your entire day, you know. You get to, game plan it ahead of time and figure out which classes you want to go to, and plus you get to go maybe somewhere new that you haven't been before and kind of see the sights outside of the conference. So
And see, this past year was in Dallas. The year before that was in Louisville, and then before that was Nashville. And actually in 2026, it's back in Nashville. And if you haven't been to Nashville, Nashville's really cool. You should definitely go to Nashville.
it's very cool. It's the first time I've been to Kentucky, so that was
Nashville's
nice to go.
in Tennessee, but
Well,
close
I know,
enough.
but Louisville. But that was the first time I'd actually been to Nashville.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No. We went on our first trip after Abigail. We went to Nashville.
Oh, that's true. We did,
Yeah,
didn't
see,
we?
you're already forgetting things.
Yeah.
You
That's-
forgot
that's
forgot
right.
that?
That's right, because you refused to ride on the Segway or whatever thingy-majigger with me.
The Segway?
The little motorized thing.
Oh, yeah. And then I just remember we walked all the way to Vanderbilt in boots, and then by the end of the day, like, my feet hurt. It was like the worst feeling in the world. If you haven't been to Nashville, Vanderbilt's what was like a mile or two from the little
Yeah.
Broadway area. I can't believe you forgot our trip to Nashville already.
I feel like we've gone several times.
We've only gone twice. So, anyways, but yeah, so PPA's great resource, and kind of along those lines, we got really fortunate getting the little studio we had, and we kind of made some headway. We that's when we were there for about a year, and then we increased the size. We went up one floor. We were on the 8th floor first, and then we went up to the 9th floor.
Mm-hmm.
Same building, double the space, about 875-ish. And that was the studio we had been running for about 2 years.
Yeah, and then at that point, we kind of felt like we were starting to make it a little bit, and we were kind of discussing kind of that, and where we started, where we were buying
Cheap gear.
off of Amazon, and we were thinking about our community of photographers, and we were kind of talking about the mom togs out there and other photographers that are trying to make it, and they just can't quite afford good equipment. And we felt like because we were at a point that maybe we could give back a little bit, that we could offer our space up for these photographers starting out that can afford the good equipment as a place to start.
Yeah, so that was late 2023 we started?
Yeah.
That? So, yeah, we opened our doors. We kind of deemed the studio name the Downtown Studio Midland. So that was kind of the name we ran it with. And we opened the door to some photographers and then just kind of help, build this community up. And again, after about 2 years, still, felt like we've been fortunate enough to keep growing. Still got a ways to go. But, just kind of realized we want to grow in a little bit more space, and we felt like we needed a bit more space and found this place. And so we're currently here in Wall Towers, 203 West Wall, 3rd floor, Suite 309, literally across the street from the park. You walk out the front doors and there's the park.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we've been fortunate that we've kind of made it this far, and I still don't feel like we're far enough, but we're definitely at a point where I want to start helping other people get to at least the points we've been to. So we've, continued the spirit of the Downtown Studio Midland, and it's been evolving to what it is now, and we hope to continue to evolve it to further things down the road. I know, this is one thing I'm super excited for that I also had to talk you into doing because you didn't want to do it. But,
That's marriage, baby.
one of the things that I really enjoyed doing, I really liked meeting these photographers. I like talking to them. I like hearing about their stories. I like hearing what, kind of makes them tick. I like hearing about where they get their inspiration from, why they choose a certain thing, why this photo they love more than the other photo. Or, I really like to get to know these people. And so, it sort of started as a blog, which I still have up on the downtownstudiomidland.com. where I got to just showcase these photographers and show their work. Pushed it out in social media. But with this, I want to, like I said, evolve it further into actually getting to know them and letting everybody else get to know them. Because there's, I didn't realize how vast this community is out here in West Texas. It's an eye opener when you go on Facebook and go right now, go on Facebook and say, hey, can you give me recommendations for a photographer? And you'll get, 75 different names. And most of these you never heard of before. Yeah. And so there's just so many people out here. There's so many creators and there's so much talent and it goes unnoticed a lot. And I just, if I can be somebody who can help prop that up and showcase that, then man, I'm happy. So this is kind of the goal of this is really to give you guys an insight, one, into the community, and two, into, your next photographer, right? The next person that's going to be behind the lens taking pictures of you and your family. So, yeah,
I mean, we love, boosting these photographers that are using the space, and, we're excited to see what they use the space and how they create these beautiful images. And we strive to provide a space that allows you to be creative in it.
And I love this space.
Oh my gosh, I love the floor-to-ceiling windows.
Yeah, so floor-to-ceiling windows, and there's three, technically 4 rooms, but there's 3 rooms. Mm-hmm. We made one room specifically newborn cake smash kind of area where all your props are located in that one room.
Yes.
You got your backdrop, you got, the flooring you need.
I got my baby posing table.
It's table.
All ready to go in one space, and I love it.
So
I love it.
And then again, that room's got floor-to-ceiling windows on one side, and then you got kind of an entry room where if you wanted to, where I actually like to come up here and just work, start editing and doing all the other stuff that you don't see photographers do behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And then we've got this main shooting area that's, pretty big. I think the dimensions are 28 by 17.
Something like that.
We've got this nice wall that, looks great in this video, but it's like a 8 by 10 or 10 by 8 wall, 2 different sides. It's a rolling wall. It's pretty cool.
Wall, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
and patio.
And a patio.
Yeah.
If you haven't gone to the website, go to downtownstudiomidland.com. And you can actually see we've got access to a balcony. We've only been in this studio for 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Still working on some things. Still trying to spice it up a little bit. I know I want to next on our list is to really kind of revive that patio and make it look nice. Mm-hmm. Not that it doesn't look nice, but
we want to put our little touch on it for us and our clients. And
yeah. So we're gonna kind of pretty up the balcony, but there's access to a balcony that you get when you rent this studio, which is cool. Which I'm still sad that I actually haven't used the studio. There's been so many people that have rented so far. And
I know we haven't used it as much as I thought we would, but we're building up the space for others, and so we've kind of put our business kind of on the back burner while we kind of help everybody else get into the space.
Because you've done at least you did one newborn, right?
I did Cake Smash.
Cake Smash, that's right.
Cake Smash, and then I did a maternity here the other day, which I used the rolling wall. It was awesome. I used it as a room, and I think the images came out fantastic.
Yeah. And then the only thing I've used it for is this stuff, which it's fun, but I really want to get back into shooting. So I need to have a shoot here soon. But so of course this space is obviously for rent, but some of the other things that we want to bring to you, we want to start doing some workshops.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
We realize, growing up in this business, in this profession, and kind of learning is, a lot of there's not a lot here, and there is here and there, but we want to kind of keep adding to that. It's not like a bigger city where there's workshops every weekend, or there's something every other weekend or every month. There's big conferences like Dallas, Fort Worth, or whatnot. I know a lot of the stuff that, talking to other photographers, a lot of the stuff that I know they use, or, YouTube, or they'll buy a class, like the class I bought, which, if you want a really good lighting class, Lindsay Adler's Mastering Studio Lighting.
She's fantastic.
Is a really good class. I would recommend you buy that.
Well, we want to provide a space that photographers can learn the basics if they need to learn the basics. We want to provide a space if you're looking to learn new techniques or new ideas or, new challenges for your photography. I mean, that's something that we would like to do. And I feel like these workshops would bring that for this area for photographers. We have a lot of photographers in this area, and it would help them grow. And that's kind of our goal here at the Downtown Studio Midland, is to just, be part of the community for these photographers, these creators, and help them grow.
Going along with that, on those lines, with these workshops, we want to, start from the beginning with some of these workshops where we're taking somebody who's never, got their first camera, has never done anything, doesn't really understand the triangle, and, aiming certain workshops for very beginners and having other workshops for people at a different skill level. Maybe you understand the triangle and you can operate your camera, but you really want to really start to learn some, like maybe shadow, or maybe, really start to learn studio. We want to try to bring workshops that would hit different levels of skill. And so that way it's something for everybody, where whatever stage you are as a photographer, you're comfortable coming here, you're comfortable with your camera, and you're just growing, right? Like that's kind of the underlying theme, is really just building this community, building you guys up, building you as a photographer, helping you kind of reach the goals you want to reach. And if we can, be a part of that, we're super excited.
We've got a workshop in the works right now that we're working through, as far as the theme of it and what's going to be included. And so that's in the works. We're working on that right now. And so we're excited that we're going to be putting that out soon. So make sure you like and follow us on our Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, so of course we have our website, downtownstudiomidland.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, the Downtown Studio Midland. This is where you can really see a lot of the photographers that have been in and out. We love when photographers come here and tag us, because we get to showcase the work and they get to showcase the work, and it just reaches more people. So definitely follow us. You'll stay up to date on workshops, on this podcast. You'll stay up to date on events, because that's the other thing I want to do is host, some events for photographers, whether it's, like a Margarita Friday type of thing, or
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But, something where this community can come together and we get to really network and meet everybody, because, there's kind of that buzzword in this community of, there's a buzzword in this community of community over competition, which, I think a little bit of competition is great. I think everybody needs a little bit, but, I kind of feel that collaboration builds community, and I just want to collaborate as much as we can and help you collaborate and facilitate that, and just really, again, be another pillar in this community that holds it up. And so we hope you guys stick around. We hope you, again, like and follow us and stay up to date. Come use the studio and then share what you've created out here. Show us what you can do. Like I said, so much talented work goes unnoticed. It's crazy.
Yes.
You can spend hours on just like, in Midwest Texas, like the stuff that people are creating, and it's just like, you've never seen it. It's awesome. Yes. And so we want to be another medium for that pushes that out there. And so, like I said, stay tuned for what's to come. There's a lot to come. There's a lot in the works, and we're so excited to bring this, and
excited to be in our new space, and excited to work with new creatives.
Yeah, maybe I'll actually get to use this space and do some photos. And we have we have another photographer lined up for our first. Well, I guess you can count this as our first episode, but our first first episode. We already have somebody lined up. We're excited to bring you her story, and excited to kind of showcase some of her work, and really excited.
Fantastic, yeah.
So y'all stay tuned for that.
Yes.
And then we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one.